What's going on is Anton from antondaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Obviously, news is hitting the wire right now about Shaunie. Used to be Shaunie O'Neal. I don't even know what her new last name is. It's whoever that pastor is. But Shaunie, formerly Shaq's wife, who she had multiple different children with, is writing a tell-all book, or at least a book from her version as far as what her life is like. And I don't really understand what this whole narrative is. I mean, I see Savannah James is out here with a new podcast, and I already went on Instagram and went off about that. And then, you got all of these different women wanting to give their perspective on things. I seen Keisha Kiora, I don't know if that's her name, as far as Gucci's wife. She recently released an episode with Gucci, and all of these chicks want to get a microphone and be able to tell their story or give their perspective. And along with that, they write books. And in those books, they then tend to tell their version of it as though we needed that aspect of it, but we really don't. But they tend to tell their version of it, which I will say that Shaunie O'Neal was a producer of one of the most ratchet shows that we've ever seen in Basketball Wives. But the flip side of it is that I believe that Shaq is the one that put her in a position. But at the same time, Shaq is largely credited with destroying his own family, and with good reason. I remember at a time when Shaq was all throughout Superhead's book, and I don't know how he put himself in a position where Superhead was able to put him in the book. And this just shows you that guys at younger ages, no matter how much money or how much visibility that they had, they found themselves in a situation to where they still got exposed by different women. And this is one of the things that we've learned a lesson from as men that came up after them, the importance of exercising dick discipline. And then also on top of that, making sure that you protect yourself against people tearing up your family, even if you out here fucking up, right? But neither here nor there. So Shaunie, apparently some excerpts from her book has hit the wire in order for them to promote it. Because you know how I do. They show certain things from the book, and they want to inspire you to go and buy the book. And Shaquille O'Neal responded, right? So Shaunie admitted she might have never been in love with Shaquille O'Neal. That's the headline right now. She's 49 years old. She's the creator of Basketball Wives series on VH1. And she released a book, or is releasing a book this week, entitled Undefeated, Changing the Rules and Winning on My Own Terms. So much to say about that, right? Let's continue. Shaq then responded on Instagram, but I want to get to the actual quote that she said. He said, "Trust me, I get it," but the couple was married in 2002 and divorced in 2011, so roughly 9 years. She says, "I enjoyed those sweet early years being a mother and raising my children. My days were always busy with my kids and family, and every now and then I got to travel and enjoy a little of the NBA high life. But invisibly, my marriage was beginning to crumble." So now all of the details from the woman's perspective tends to come out, and we know that the ladies is going to be out in full force in support of everything that's going on. She goes on to say, "As I've written, it was obvious early on. You know how when you first get sick and the symptoms are so mild that you're not even sure you are sick? That's how things were in the early years. I was busy and happy and didn't notice what was going on. But as the disease progressed and the symptoms became harder and harder to ignore." The couple shares 4 children together, blah, 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 blah. Henderson wrote that O'Neal had a habit of going missing and that she suspected infidelity. She says, "Looking back, I don't know that I was ever really in love with the man." Oof. Now that hurts. That absolutely hurts, because then that tends to tell me that, you never was really in it for the right reasons. Not saying that she should have got cheated on, but good God, what do you mean you never was really in love with me? You should have never married me if you wasn't in love with me. And I understand, I get it, because Shaq messed up so bad. It's hard to come to the defense of this particular situation, but good God, you never was in love with me? That hurts. That hurts. Says, "But I was in love with the idea of being married to the man I had a family with, so she was unwilling to break up her family." She goes on to say, "I was in love with the idea of building a life together. I truly did enjoy spending time with him. NBA road trips gave me a chance to be with my husband and experience the NBA life for a little while. Here's one thing that I'm trying to understand from a lot of these guys. As I highlight this and I break down this quote that she just said that obviously is going to give an insight into what was going on in her life. Anton from antondaniels.com does not plan on buying a book. I don't think that there is any value in me reading the Shaunie, or not Shaunie O'Neal, but Shaunie, whatever her last name is, Shaunie Nelson. Shaunie Nelson. Henderson. Shaunie Henderson. Rita's correcting me right now. But here's the thing that I'm trying to understand. Why are these guys still today getting married at young ages, understanding that they're going to be living the NBA high life? What is the purpose of it? Why not just throw on a rubber? Or even to this point, I mean, in 2024, it's not unheard of to just get a vasectomy and go about living your life. But why don't they just, strap up, get a rubber, make sure that they make these chicks sign the proper paperwork, put your money, put 90, 75, 80%, 90% of your money up in investments, and spend the other 10% living and doing whatever it is that you want to do, minimize your expenses, and live off your investments because you're going to get that shoe deal anyway, and just be able to live the life. Why even put yourself in a position to have to pay child support, get caught up in these chicks, be accused of infidelity, mess up your reputation? One of the people that I admire as far as how he lives his life and how he keeps his stuff completely private and don't have any problems whatsoever is Kevin Durant. Nobody has ever had a conversation about Kevin Durant and his private life and whether or not he's getting caught up in these streets. Now, maybe I'm confused or maybe I'm just not aware of what he got going on, but I've never heard anything about Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant lives completely off the grid. Don't nobody know where he lived. They don't know what state he in. They don't know nothing. They just know he collecting a bag, getting a check, getting it from Nike, getting it from the NBA. Living his life, having a legacy, and the only thing that you can debate about Kevin Durant about is whether or not his legacy is as great as he wants it to be on the court, considering that he joined the Golden State Warriors. But nobody ever talks about Kevin Durant. And there's several NBA players that plays it right, and they've been playing it right since they got into the league, but you never hear anything from them. They just having a good time. Ain't no porn stars getting pregnant, nothing like that. They just living life. But why do these guys wind up getting married in the first place? I'm so confused as to why that's a thing and why that makes sense, especially considering that they have no plans on being a family man in the first place. And I understand that you're busy. I understand you on the road. I understand that you got to take care of business. But at least half the time, you got to make sure that you spending time with your family or your chick, or at least bringing her on the road with you, especially in the early years. I advise guys when they first get married to spend the first 2 or 3 years just continuously being in a honeymoon phase before you even have kids in the first place. We spent the first 3 or 4 years when we first got married. Now, I'm not comparing myself to an NBA player, but I'm just saying we spent the first 3 or 4 years just having a good time. And then we wound up, having a child on the 4th year that we was married. And then we went from there, and life just became exponentially better as a result of it because we've just been living that good life. That good, holy, filled, spiritual life full of the Jesus. But we've been living that good life. And I don't understand why these guys decide to do it. But it says, last June, O'Neal admitted where he came up short as a husband. I had 2 perfect women and I messed it up. Who was the other one that he had? I remember him being on Monica's podcast. He says, the first one was my baby mother, Arnetta. And then I met Shaunie. Shaunie was also a perfect woman, and I messed it up. Yeah, we were young and always just doing dumb stuff, but the good thing about our relationship is that they forgave me, and we have a good relationship. And Shaq he seems like a genuinely good guy. But when you ask me about the perfect woman, I had 2 perfect women, and I messed it up just by, being dumb. Maybe he just wasn't ready to be married. He relayed the advice he gives to his sons in their relationships. First thing you have to be is honest with yourself and honest with your partner. I tells my sons all the time, a man has 3 jobs when it comes to a woman: to provide, protect, and love. Some men can only offer 2 for whatever reason. I'm going to teach you how to offer all 3. And that's what I try to do. Even though I don't have a relationship with the women that I let get away, I will always provide, protect, and love. Whatever they need from me, they get from me. And then he responded on Instagram, which we don't have that particular clip. And he said, trust me, I get it. And he posted it on his story. But I guess, again, the point that I'm just trying to hit on and the point that I'm emphasizing is Learn from their mistakes. Don't even put yourself in a position to suffer in the first place. Stop getting these chicks pregnant. Stop getting caught up with these hoes. Don't trick off. And if you're going to decide to do it, then go about doing it the right way and make the right decision so that your kids can then be, be a reflection of what their father is, and their daughters could be with the man that they would want their daughter to. I'm mixing that up. Don't worry about it. I'm just completely out of it. I've been working all day. But you get the point. The daughter should be marrying a man that's similar to her father. The son should be want to just be like their father. And you shouldn't be getting caught up in these streets, man. I love you. I appreciate you. We're going to go into this a little bit more on After Hours with Mika and Quentin and all of my friends, and we're going to have a good time. So let me know what y'all think inside of the comments, and then make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.